Hey fellow gamers, this is Neodamus from the team for Epoch of Elements, or EOE for short. This is our first video, so basically I wanted to go over what EOE is all about, the game concepts behind it, and how to actually play the game. To start off, I just want to talk about what EOE is all about and how it's made. EOE is a free browser-based game. The technologies it uses are HTML5, JavaScript, and Websockets. The Websockets allow multiplayer play, and allow head-to-head competition. This is the main focus of EOE. It's meant to be a competitive game, a battle of the minds. The game concepts behind EOE come from a few games: chess, real-time strategy games like Warcraft 3 and Dota, and turn-based games like Heroes of Might and Magic. So if you've ever played any of those games, there are going to be concepts in EOE that you recognize. The first thing that you'll see when you go to Epoch of Elements website, which is epochofelements.com, is the login screen. Now I'm just going to log in real quick. And then I get to the main menu. The main menu has 4 basic options, but really we only need to talk about 3 because visit the website's pretty self-explanatory. The sandbox is basically used for me and clones. It's used for testing out units to make sure they're working, but also if you wanted to go in there and test stuff out yourself, there's nothing stopping you from doing so. The game lobby is where you can go in and see what games are up. There's also a chat room in there that you can use to talk to other people and set up games if you want. And the last option is called Quick Game Search. Quick Game Search basically is the main button, and what it will do is if there's a game up, you'll join it, and if there's no game up, you'll create one. So I'm going to do that now. Now I'm waiting for another player to join. Again, EOE is a multiplayer based game, so if there's no one to play with, you can't really play it. But the nice thing about it is that since it's a browser based game, you can always play with yourself. No pun intended. Or you can invite your friends and have them join with you. But if you just want to test the game out and see what it's like, it's easy for you to do that. Now I'm waiting for another person to join, so I can open another window and then go to Quick Game Search. Since there's already a game up, when I click this button, I should automatically join the game I've already made, which is what I did. So this might get a little confusing, but try to follow. I have 2 different players here now. Now, right now, I'm allowed to pick 9 different units. The game is basically 9 versus 9. And to win, you're basically trying to kill the other player's units. All their units. In the future, the way to win will probably change, because we're going to add things like generals, which will basically be like heroes of the map, and the basic goal of the map will be to kill the general. But for now, all it is killing the other player's units. So right now it's telling me here that I need to pick 9 units. So I'm just going to pick 9 random units. Don't worry about what these units do. I don't really want to get too much into that. because you'll be able to mess around with this by yourself and learn what each unit does. But I will go over some of them as we go over it. So if you look at the other player, you'll see that down here there's 2 picks which are unknown to this player. So you can use this to your advantage and pick units to help you solidify a strategy without the other player really knowing what you might be doing. But for now, I'm going to go back to the original person, the original player, and end my turn. So now I'm waiting for the other player to finish their picks. So I'll switch to the other window, and I'll pick 9 random units again. Before I end my turn, I want to talk a little bit about the elements. This is sort of a key feature and is what we use to help design the units. Each one of these boxes, red, gray, green, yellow, blue, represents one of the elements in the game. Red is fire. It's primarily based on strategic play, map control, as well as vision and stealth detection. It directly counters, for the most part, the air units, which are next, which are stealth units and other units that are based off of tricky things such as reducing line of sight, summoning illusions, and things of that sort. So if you look at it, so fire will counter air, air will counter earth, earth will counter lightning, lightning will counter water, and water will counter fire. And that's basically the way it works. So as I said, air is the stealth, tricky, high damage, low defense, easy to kill if they're seen. Green, earth, represents the ranged units. They're trying to, stay far away from their enemies, try and incapacitate their speed. Lightning is based around, more around rushing, going in and doing a lot of melee damage. Very fast units, they can move a lot. And the last one is water, which is more based around lots of life, healing, and things like that. So as you learn each of these units, it will become more and more clear what's good against what. But for the most part, the basics again, the fire counters air, air counters earth, earth counters lightning, lightning counters water, water counters fire. You can use that when you're picking to help set up your army in a way that will give you an advantage before the game is even started. So now I'm going to end the turn now that I've picked my 9 units. So now we're in the placement phase. So basically, these are my 9 units. You right click on a square, one of these squares, or hexes actually, to place a unit. So I'm just going to place all my units real quick. And then click finish placement. And you can see that I'm starting at the bottom of the map. And then here's the original first player. And I'm going to finish placement with him now. Now, the game has officially started. You can see that this player has an end turn option with a 3, which basically means you can move 3 units per turn. Each time you move a unit, that 3 will go down. As you can see, the other player has no in-turn option. So right now, this player is waiting for the other person to do their moves and end their turn. You can also see there's a line of sight, so you can't see where the other player is or what they're doing until they're actually in vision. So I'm going to start out by talking about the stats. So this right here is the assassin. He's an air unit. He has stealth. These are the tooltips. Obviously we haven't put those in yet, but they're coming soon, so we can so you'll actually know what the abilities do. But for now, you're just gonna have to learn through experience and just trying things out, or playing against yourself and, you know, just messing around. But here's the stats. So basically, hit points are self-explanatory. When a unit runs out of hit points, it dies. Damage is how much, when you attack a unit, how much damage you're going to attempt to do. Defense is when you are attacked, how much you can block. So, for instance, if I was an assassin attacking another assassin, I would be doing 6 damage, and the other assassin would be defending for 3, which means you would do 3 damage. Movement just says how many hexes the unit can move. Pretty self-explanatory. Sight is, again, pretty self-explanatory. It's how far you can see. Range is how many hexes away you can attack. For now, a range of 1 represents a melee unit, and anything more than 1 is a ranged unit. Reveal is stealth detection. Now, an assassin has no stealth detection, and there are actually very few units that have stealth detection. The Vanguard, which is a fire unit, is one unit that does have reveal. The only unit actually that has reveal to start. So basically, if there was a stealth unit in my radius, you can see there's an aura around him, then I would be able to see him. Attacks means how many attacks you get for a turn. Most units only have 1 attack. There are some cases where you can have more attacks in a single turn than just 1, but for the most part it's 1. Defense, we'll be changing this later to blocks, but for now it's defense. And when it's not your turn and someone attacks you, if you have a defend, it will take into account your defense. So again, I'll use the same scenario. If I was an assassin attacking another assassin with 1 defend, then in the end I would do 3 total damage. But if I was attacking a unit with no defense, then I would do 6 damage, because it wouldn't be able to block my damage. So it's really good to use units in sort of together, so that you can take down a unit's blocks for that turn. That is an efficient way to kill units. So that's basically all the stats. So now I'll go into abilities, and I'll start off with the assassin. So basically he has stealth. When I click it, you can see this 3 came up, which is the cooldown. And you can also see that he's sort of grayed out now. which means he is stealth, and the other player cannot see him without having reveal. So I'm also going to move a third unit. I'll move my crossbowman. Now that I've moved 3 units, my vanguard, my assassin, and my crossbowman, I'm going to end my turn and switch to the other player. So the first thing I want to talk about that I forgot to mention was on each of these units there's 4 of the basic stats, these numbers. This yellow one represents the movement you have left for this turn. The red number represents your hit points. The white number represents your attack or your damage. And the blue number represents your defense. So another thing I want to show you real quick is if I move up all the way, I can now see the crossbowman. I can see the vanguard as well. But the stealth unit, the assassin, I can't see him. I have no idea where he is. But he should be, if I look at it, see, he's just directly above him. So the assassin is right here. Oh, and if I, this is a bug. If I click on the unit, I can actually see that he's there. That needs to be fixed. You shouldn't be able to do that. So I'll write that down and get ready to fix that. But you can see, anyways, basically I just wanted to show that the stealth unit can be seen and the other units can. So, I guess I'll go over attacking now. I'll move my ranger. So the ranger, he's a ranged unit. Unfortunately, you can't move enough to attack this guy, because an attack requires 1 movement, and the attack radius is this red. These red circles show what I can attack. So when I move here to get him in range, I won't be able to attack him since I don't have any more. So let's see what I can do. I'll use my healer. So the healer has an ability called teleport. Teleport requires no movement and has a cooldown of 6. So when I activate it, you can see the area that I'm able to use teleport. I'm going to teleport right here, close to the other person's crossbowman. Now, strategically, that's really stupid because a healer should be in the back because it's really fragile and you don't want to lose it. But for this, just showing you what to do and what everything does, I'm going to do it. So now I've teleported right next to this crossbowman. And I still have 5 movement, I still have 1 attack. So, and the crossbowman is in my range. So, I'm going to right click on him. Before I do that, I'll show you how attack and all that sort of stuff is calculated. The healer has 3 damage. He has 1 attack, so he can attack. The crossbowman has 4 defense. He also has 1 defend. Because I only have 3 damage, and the crossbowman has 4 defense, when I attack him, I'm going to do 0 damage, because his defend is greater than my damage, so I'm going to do that. I attacked him, but I did no damage. You can see that the attack squares are gone, signaling I can no longer attack. I can, however, still move, so I'll do that to get him out of harm's way. Now, if I click on the crossbowman, you can now see that the crossbowman has 0 defense. So, if I were to attack him again with another unit, his defense wouldn't even matter. I would just do whatever damage the attacking unit has. So for instance, if my Iron Fist were able to attack him, I would do 6 damage to the crossbowman, which would bring his hit points from 8 to 2. But since I moved all 3 units, I'm going to end my turn and switch over to the other player. Now, I have my assassin here, and he's ready to attack something. I can see that this ranger here is 4 movement away. So when I move here, I'm going to have 1 movement left, which means I'll still be able to attack him. So I'm going to do that. Now, again, I can attack him. I have 1 movement and 1 attack, so I'm able to attack this ranger. I have 6 damage. The ranger has 4 defense. So, just by that alone, since the ranger has a defend here, he's going to defend with 4 defense. Meaning I would do 2 damage. But the assassin has an ability called ambush, which is a passive ability, and it basically says that if the assassin is stealthed when he attacks, then he will do 50% more damage on that attack. Meaning, when I attack him, I'm going to have, instead of 6 damage, I'm going to have 9 damage. So when I attack this ranger, I'm going to be attacking for 9 damage, and the ranger will be defending for 4. So I should do 5 overall damage to him and bring his hit points to 3. So I'm going to do that now. So I brought him down to 3, and also, if you'll notice, when I attacked, I came out as stealth. Now, if I switch to the other player, the other player can now see my assassin. He's come out of stealth. And I can't stealth again for 2 turns. So basically, my assassin is now vulnerable. But before I end my turn, obviously, I still have 2 more units to move. So I'm going to continue with my vanguard. Now, the ranger has no more defense, so he is extremely vulnerable right now. I'm going to use my vanguard, who has 5 attack, to attack him. And since he has no defense, the ranger does, I'm going to do 5 damage. He has no way to defend him, so this is going to kill the ranger. So I'm going to do that now. The vanguard also has it's like an orb attack. It will put a debuff on anything he attacks that has a damage over time. But since I killed the ranger, that's sort of a moot point. But it's really good against stealth units because if they have the engulf buff on them, they're unable to stealth. So I'm going to move, just for learning purposes, I'm going to move this vanguard in here. This would be a really dumb thing to do in a real game because it puts him within range of all my enemy's units. But I just want to show more about how the game works. I'm also going to continue to move my crossbowman just to show one of his abilities. So his ability is Sentry, which is an aura based ability. When I use it, when I click on it, which I'll do now, it takes 1 movement. Brought my movement down to 0. The cooldown is 3. But what it does is, when an enemy unit moves into it, it automatically takes 3 damage. And the Sentry will proc up to 3 times, meaning Sentry can do up to 9 damage if units move inside of it. So I'm going to end my turn to illustrate that real quick. You can also see that the Sentry has already done 3 damage to this healer in its range. So the Sentry has 2 attacks left. So I'm going to end my turn and show some more stuff on the other player. Now, I'm going to move my Iron Fist into the Sentry's, or into Sentry's aura. Each time I move into it, I should take 3 damage. So, I move, I take 3 damage, I move again, and I take 3 more. But now, Sentry should be gone. But unfortunately, it's not. So, Sentry appears to be bugged right now, but I'm just going to continue. I'll add that to the list of bugs to fix. And show what the Iron Fist can do. Now, the Iron Fist has an ability called Thunderclap, which is really good against units like the Ice Spirit, because it basically halves the HP of the unit it's attacking. So, for instance, when I use Thunderclap against the crossbowman, since he has 8 life, it will bring it down to 4. If I had done it against the Ice Spirit, it would have done 8 damage, because half of 15 is 7.5, but it rounds up, so it would have taken 8 damage away from him. So again, since lightning counters water, this would be a really good unit against the Ice Spirit. But it's still okay against the crossbowman. It still did 4 damage, but it's just not as effective against them. Also, I still have 1 attack, so I'm going to attack this crossbowman, which should bring him down to 2 life, because I have 6 damage and the crossbowman has 4 defend. I'm also going to use my healer, because my Iron Fist is almost dead. So I want to move and get in healing range and heal my healer. It should heal for 6 hit points. So now my Iron Fist has 8 hit points and he's looking good. Also, I still have 1 attack with my healer. So, and I've already taken the defend away from the crossbowman with my Iron Fist. So when I attack, I'm going to do 3 damage to this crossbowman, because he can't defend, meaning I'm going to kill him with my healer. And he's dead. So, the last unit I want to show before I end the video is the Charger. Now, he has an ability called Rapid Strikes, which is an ability that when I use it, he gets 2 additional attacks for that turn. So he's one of the rare units that can have more than 1 attack in a turn. That's just one of the features of lightning units. That's what they're good for. So I'm going to move up to this Vanguard. I still have 3 attacks, or I have 1 attack. I still have 3 movement. So I have 3 movement, 3 attacks now after using rapid strikes. So I'm going to get to attack this Vanguard 3 times. This Vanguard has 2 defense and 4 defense. So the first 2 attacks, since he has 4 defense and I have 4 damage, should do nothing. They basically just waste his defense. But the third attack will do 4 damage. So I'll show that now. So it ends up him being at 8 life. And so that's pretty much all I want to show. In a future video, I want to go over the units. I want to go over each individual unit and their abilities. But for now, I just wanted to show the basic concepts and show you how you could go into the game and learn yourself just by, setting up 2 browser tabs and setting up a game with yourself. And again, just experiment with the abilities, and that should be a good way to get a basic idea of what they can do. The last thing I want to say is, in the future, we're going to be adding a lot of new features. This game is like basically an alpha. We've only been working on it a little over a month, but we have a lot of things planned for it. I already talked about the generals, but we also want to have a lot more detailed battlefields to have things like trees, rocks, to help block line of sight, maybe destructibles to help you clear paths and attack people when they don't, or flank people when they can't see it coming, and just make the battlefield a lot more interesting than this one, because this is about as basic as it can get. And also, in the distant future, we want to make a world mode so that this sort of combat that's here, this battlefield, is just one mini battle of a bigger campaign. So you can choose to play against your friends either a mini battle, just a little game like this, or a more extended campaign, which would be a collection of mini battles and trying to control the world, resources on it, things like that. It's still, an idea that we're working on and thinking about, but it's something we know we want to have in the future. So, if you're interested, be sure to go to epochofelements.com, check out the game. There's social stuff at the bottom. If you want to bring your friends along, tell them about it if you like the game. We're really trying to build a community. In a couple months, we plan on setting up a tournament that will have a cash prize. So be sure to be looking out for that. And we're going to try and do updates weekly, bi-weekly, and just keep the game very fresh. And we're also going to be very responsive to the community of players behind us. So if you have an idea about how this game could be better and more intriguing, then be sure to let us know, because we're listening to you guys. We want to make this game awesome, as good as it can be, and we're more than willing to listen to what everyone has to say. And if it's a really good idea that's game changing, we want to open debates and discussions to see, is this sort of thing where we want to head, and will it increase the overall gameplay value? So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions or comments, be sure to post them below. Thanks a lot.